One of the most common challenges that I see is that stakeholders will either not set goals at all, or they'll set an arbitrary budget and expect to achieve it regardless of how they came about that budget. So the first key for me is
Hello and welcome back to Hire We Go, where every episode we sit down with someone in the talent marketing trenches and walk you through how to tackle one real challenge step by step. I'm Ashlie Collins, and today my guest is Alane Apicella, who is back with us today to talk about campaign planning, management, and measurement. So I know we did the intros last time, so we're just going to jump straight in if you don't mind, Alane.
great.
What I really like to pick your brain about is when you sit down to scope a job advertising or recruitment marketing campaign, how do you translate we have X amount of budget into clear expectations for what that budget can and cannot deliver?
Yeah, that's a great question. And probably one of the most common challenges that I see is that stakeholders will either not set goals at all, or they'll set an arbitrary budget and expect to achieve it regardless of, how they came about that budget. So the first key for me is leveraging historical data or industry benchmarks, or ideally both, so that we can set some expectations. When it comes to conversion media, that includes things like how many hires do you need to make? What percentage of those hires are going to come from the recruitment marketing campaign at hand? What's the app to hire ratio look like? What's the average CPA? If the budget is defined upfront, then we can back into what expectations can we realistically deliver based on all of that historical data. If the budget is not set upfront, then we can actually build a budget based on that historical data. But it's using the data to set those expectations and being really clear and methodical about it, and then measuring and optimizing campaign performance based on those expectations.
Yeah. And this is something I live and breathe every day. And I do feel this pain because not everyone is privy to the same amount of historical data when trying to build this out. But from your experience, where do you see expectations most commonly misaligned, whether that's like volume versus budget or speed versus quality? And how do you reset the conversation in those situations?
Yeah, it all comes back to the setting of the expectations up front. Without unlimited resources, which, most organizations do not have unlimited resources, you have to balance that volume and that budget piece of it. Speed is often aligned with budget, so you can get more faster if you have the right budget set upfront. Quality is more about targeting and messaging than it is necessarily about the budget piece of it. So here, the algorithm should be optimizing from a targeting perspective. So ideally, you're testing messaging and optimizing over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Once a campaign is live, how do you like to review performance, identify optimization opportunities, and decide whether to adjust the plan versus just stay the course?
Yeah. In the beginning, we generally work with Joveo to review metrics on a weekly basis. And here we're just looking for basic, are we heading in the right direction? Are we seeing week over week improvements, implying that the algorithm is actually learning and that we're going as we expected, or something amiss and we need to, shift course, reset our expectations or our assumptions? Over time, we're looking at it more on a monthly basis, as opposed to a weekly basis. That's usually sufficient. We trust that the algorithm and Joveo's traders are optimizing in real time. So it's more about the trending and how we're shifting gears based on either organizational challenges that are emerging, either changes in the marketplace that we're seeing, or based on, shifts in just the expectations overall for the campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like getting our hands on that benchmark data and establishing that baseline is a crucial step in making sure that this is all a reality.
Exactly.
Amazing. Thank you again for sharing your wealth of insight with us. We hope it was incredibly helpful for you listeners out there. And until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.